Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server amateur or bucket spigot plug tutorial. If you're joining for the first time, feel free to subscribe button because I do these every week, or I try to anyway. If you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button. If you feel like this video is helpful, please leave a like because that helps me out for helping you guys out. This one was actually not requested, but it was a very popular plugin that I am surprised I haven't done. I know I've mentioned it before, and this is Lib Disguise made by Library Addict, and this is fantastic. I know we use this for Block Hunt, and it's awesome. So you have 62 disguises in this. It has a better performance than a lot of the other ones out there. It does require 1.10 plus, and it does require protocol lib to be run alongside of it. But as you can see, I'm disguised as Big Red, and it does show like an outline of myself, which is pretty cool. Or I can even just turn that off and not even see what I'm disguised as, which I don't know why you'd want that, but anyway, you can be disguised as just about any mob. You can be disguised as about different as entity. You can be like an experience orb floating around. It's super cool. One of the limitations of it is some of the idle sounds are not there, like zombie sounds, all that stuff, but damage and footsteps are all there for every single mob. So that's pretty cool. Let's get into it real quick. It's super easy. You can do disguise or just D, and then you can see all the stuff that you can disguise yourself as far as that goes. It's kind of interesting. It's basically like you specify what you want, and then you can add on to it. So for me to be specify or to be a mushroom cow, you can just do D and then mushroom cow, and then that's just going to go straight up mushroom cow. But you want to be a baby, so you're going to do baby. Now you're a baby, but then you want to change the name of it. So now here's how you get into figuring out exactly all of the things that you can modify with your disguise, which is pretty cool. So you can go D, help, mushroom cow, and see all the stuff. So we're going to do that baby. Then we're going to do set custom name Big Red, but then also we want to do set custom name visible true. So you just basically stack onto it, and then the permissions are similar to that, which we'll talk about in a moment. But then there you go. You can see the name, and that is the name is Big Red. So the D help is a big thing. You can see all the different things that you can do in here. You can also disguise art. You can change the animal colors, all that stuff. It's very slick. So one thing you could do is D, and then as an item you could do falling block maybe. Now if you don't specify what kind of falling block, it's going to be a stone block, as you can see right there. So we're going to do the 5-1, which I think is just oak. Now we're an oak falling block, and then so basically you just add that at the end. So we can even do like a D experience orb, which is pretty cool. Or you can do D, and then I think there's a dropped block in here, dropped item maybe. There we go. And then you're a stone one, and if you want to do that, then you're a birch dropped item, and you're walking around like that. Now, the items and stuff like that is a little bit glitchy. The mobs are where it's more solid, but it's pretty cool that you have that option. And then you just do U to undisguise yourself. There's two other really cool options in the disguise. You can replicate somebody else's disguise. So if you just do disguise or D, I like the shortcuts in there, D, and then do at, and then the player name that you want to replicate, and it will replicate whatever their disguise is. So if you see your friend and they did something pretty cool, but it's like a long command to do it, you just put that at symbol in front of their player name, and that shows up. So talking a little bit more about player names, you can also disguise yourself as another player. So then you just do disguise player and then their name. So you're going to put their in-game name in. Now, if their in-game name has spaces in it, you got to do this, and then, well, you don't have to do this, but to do a space, you do the backslash and then underscore, and then that is how that shows up. So every time you have a space in the username, you got to put that in there. You have a few other really cool options in here that I really like. You can do a disguise entity or D entity, and then we're going to do bat. Or we'll just sit bat. So then we find somebody disguised as a bat. There we go. So now we have a pig disguised as a bat, which is pretty cool. And then you can just do undent entity, and then right click on them and then undisguise them. That's pretty cool. You can disguise everybody in a radius of a certain thing. So that is disguise radius, the radius, and then the disguise that you want all that stuff. If you want to disguise another player, you do disguise player, the player name, and then the disguise string of whatever that is, just like you were talking about. So the perms are a little bit interesting. They're pretty straightforward, but they're a little bit more complex than I usually like permission nodes to be. Now, the reason for that is because it kind of like they give you a lot of options. So libdisguise.disguise star gives the person option to all disguises, or you can do dot instead of dot star, you do dot name, and then it follows dot options. So the dot options are like baby, set their name, all that stuff, and you can just stack that on. So if you want them to be able to do a mushroom cow baby with a custom name, that would be the libdisguise dot mushroom cow dot baby dot custom name dot whatever else that you want them to have access to, which is cool. But you can always just do the dot star, and then they can have options. They have access to all the options or all the disguises, whatever you want. You probably also want to make sure that they have access to libdisguises.undisguised so they can turn their disguises off if you want them to. There's nothing really to go over in the configuration because everything's pretty much done in game for modifying all this. There's a whole lot of like little tweaks and stuff that you can enable and disable in the configuration. I don't feel like it's really necessary to go over because the author does a great job of commentating everything that's in there. So if you don't have Notepad++, use that to view the configuration. You'll see it on the screen right now, the configuration. And if you're using Notepad++, all that green stuff is commented out, and that is there for you to learn how to use the plugin a lot better. So hopefully this gets you up and running. This is a really cool plugin, and I'm surprised I've never hit on it or never touched on it until now. Anyway, please leave a like. Let me know what you guys are thinking. This is Kaz reminding you guys all, enjoy the game.